You've probably heard you should take your best Claude prompts and turn them into skills. Install a bunch and then let them fire automatically. But here's what nobody tells you: every skill that you install has a cost. Stack too many, and Claude starts picking the wrong one, and you can't figure out why. If you're new here, I'm Dylan. I run an AI consultancy where I coach people through building their own AI systems in live sessions. And this project versus skill question comes up in almost every single one of them. So, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly when to reach for a project, when to reach for a skill, and why one of them should be your default for almost everything. So, let's get into it. Now, before we talk about skills or projects or building any of that stuff, I want to put out a huge caveat. In most use cases, projects and skills aren't necessary. You can just interact with the AI to get what you need. But in some cases, it's extremely useful. And if you answer yes to two simple questions, then projects and skills might be needed for your use case. And these are those two questions. So the first question is, do I need this kind of work more than once? And kind is important because it doesn't have to be the exact same use case. You're not copying and pasting this exact thing to this thing. You're not taking these very specific steps each time. As long as the shape is somewhat similar, it could be applied to a project or a skill. And I'll explain more about that later. The second question here is, does the quality have to be high every single time? So if you answer these questions yes, then we might want to try out projects or skills. And we'll start with projects. So what is a project? Well, a project is a scoped workspace that you focus on a very specific activity with additional context inside of it. So you've probably used projects inside of Claude. So if I go to my Claude setup here and I go home, you probably start at a page like this. Well, if I go over here to these folders here where it says projects and I select this, it's going to take me into my projects section. And these are all the projects I've created. If I click into a project, I have files that can be referenced over time, and then I have my instructions. We'll talk more about this later, but that's what it looks like inside of Claude. Now, the issue that I run into with a lot of people is they treat their projects inside of Claude like a folder on your desktop where you drop a bunch of files in relation to a project you're working on, not a project inside of Claude, or a company, or whatever else. And that's an issue because you're distracting the AI with all those files. So what we want to do is we want to focus each project on a very specific activity. And I feel like this is a good representation of that. So on the left-hand side is the wrong way. And we have a specific company called Acme. What we've did is we've taken all the files related to this company and we dropped it into the knowledge file location of the Claude project. And if we ask the AI to do a specific task for us, it may get distracted by all these files in here. So what we want to do is instead, we want to have a different project for each activity associated to that company. So here we have the company, Acme, and we're doing client updates in this specific project. The next one is monthly closes, proposals, contract review. And if we go back to Claude in the project section, each one of these boxes here should be dedicated to a certain activity. So if you have a company you have a bunch of activities for, this could be company A, activity 1, company A, activity 2, company A, activity 3, etc. But the most important thing you need to take away for these projects is they need to be focused on a very specific activity. Quick pause in your regular programming. This video is brought to you by me, as always. Two quick things. First off, Below is a 30-day AI Insight series, completely free. You'll get 30 insights in your inbox so I can apply AI to your business and your work. The second thing is if you'd like to work with me, below are a series of offerings to see if there's a good fit between the two of us. Now, let's get back into the video. And one of the big benefits of projects is that the AI is focused on that task and it's not distracted by anything else. And you'll see why this is important when we talk about skills in a second. So say we're an AI and we go into this project here. Well, when we're inside of this project, we're not distracted by any of the other contexts or instructions by any of the other projects. We're only focused on this and this alone. That's useful because we can scale projects. We can have hundreds of projects. And when we open up a very specific project, the AI is not distracted by the others. So I want to quickly show you the difference between Claude projects in the browser and Claude projects on your desktop via Claude Cowork, because a lot of you are starting to migrate to Claude Cowork because you see the benefit in using agents. So what's the difference? Well, when you open up Claude projects here, you open up in the project section. So you go to the project section here, you click in the project and you're open. You can talk to whatever you want here in this chat, and it's going to reference the knowledge files that you've uploaded, as well as the system instructions behind the scenes here. That's projects inside the browser. But when you do this inside of Cowork, it looks slightly different. So in Cowork, what I've done is I've opened up a specific folder. And actually, let me do a new conversation. And I'm opening in a folder right here. So I've opened a very specific folder on my desktop, and I've done it via this dropdown. So I'm going to do tests so you can see what it looks like when I'm using this. So when you go in here, you have the chat here in the center. And on the right-hand side, we have the instructions. So the instructions here, it's called a Claude.md on your desktop inside of that folder. But it's the instructions, the same equivalent to the instructions that we've shown here inside the browser. So if I move this over here, do a side-by-side, The instructions in the browser are here that you update. So these are the system instructions for the project that the AI looks at every single time. The same thing applies here. So all you have to do is update this, and it's the same one for one. But the knowledge files are slightly different. So we don't have a knowledge files section dedicated like we do in the browser. Instead, we have the context section. And this is basically going to be all the files inside of that folder with this AI. So in our case, I've created a folder here called Acme. We have a bunch of folders inside of here. So I've opened the Acme folder, this parent folder, and that's what we're looking at in here. So the AI should have access to all the other subfolders if necessary, if I'm in the parent folder. But if I'm in one of the subfolders, not in the parent folder when I open up Claude Cowork, so say I open up Claude Cowork via this Acme proposals folder, it's only going to see what's inside of this and nothing else. It's not going to be distracted by the other folders here. That's a simple distinction between the two. So now let's move on to skills. Why would I use a skill and kind of what's the difference? Well, the reason I would use a skill is if I have a very specific process I want the AI to follow, and there might be a correlated output format that matters a lot to me. An example here could be maybe I have a proposal that I write, and the proposal formatting should be perfect pixel for pixel to what my branding is. Or maybe I have a very detailed process for financial evaluation, and it's a very specific thing I want the AI to follow based off of my lens and how I do this. And in these cases, we have specific steps, standards, and formats that we care about for skills. Now, one of the big differences between projects and skills is when you create a skill, especially in the browser for Claude, in every single conversation that you have, the AI is going to load the title of the skill and a brief description of the skill, which is usually a one-liner. You don't see this, but it's happening in the background. The AI is always loading all the skills that you have enabled actively. And it does that because it proactively sometimes calls skills based off of the context of the ask you've given it. So, for instance, if we're talking to an AI about contracts and it determines that maybe we should call this skill because it's in relation to the contracts we're discussing, it's going to do that. And when it calls it, it's not going to pull everything from that skill because inside the skill, we don't just have the title and the description, but we also sometimes in a skill have a bunch of detailed instructions as well as a bunch of associated files that it can look at. But maybe looking at all those files isn't necessary. So it ignores maybe these three files and only focuses on these two based off of the context in the ask originally. So it determines how much information it pulls from each skill, which is important because we're managing the context window. Basically, the space in the AI's head, we're not filling it up too much. We're progressively showing what's necessary for that task. And let me quickly show you what skills look like inside of both the browser as well as the desktop. So if I open up the browser here and I go to the left-hand side, I go to customize where this little suitcase is. I then select skills here. It's going to show me all the skills I've actively created and turned on. You can see these are all my personal skills. Now, if I open up the skill creator down here, this is actually from Anthropic. In the skill, we have the title of the skill, which is called skill creator. We have a brief description of the skill because those two things are the things that are always being loaded to the AI at all times. We just don't see it. And then below that, we have a detailed description of actually how this skill operates and when to use it. In addition to this huge markdown file, we also have a series of subfolders that AI can look at when necessary. So it doesn't look at all of them when it calls this skill, it just does it sometimes. And sometimes it might open up this agent subfolder and look at a few of these others files that are inside of it. That's the browser. So if you now go back to Cowork for the desktop agent, it's a similar setup where if we go to the suitcase on the left-hand side for customize, we then go to skills, we can see all of our personal skills as well as some built-in skills down here. These built-in skills are from Anthropic. And if I click into one of these, so if I go to the skill creator again, you can see that it has a similar setup. Same thing, we have the title, the description, the associated skill, and then all the subfolders here. It's a very similar layout. So that was a quick comparison between the browser and the desktop for skills and where they sit and how they look. But there's a massive difference between using skills in the browser versus the desktop. And that difference is what the AI looks at. So I know I've already mentioned to you previously that the AI is going to look at all the skills when they're active inside the browser. So if I have all these skills that are active, the AI is going to see the title and the description associated to all the skills that are active. But if I'm using the desktop agent, so Claude Cowork on my desktop, I can create specific skills and I can attach them to specific subfolders. So if I have a subfolder that's called finance and I create a series of skills called financial close and tax prep, I can tell Claude Cowork to only have these skills active inside of this folder and nowhere else. The benefit of that is that means we can scale skills and projects on the desktop versus within the browser, you can only scale projects and not skills because if you have too many skills, you overwhelm the AI. And this difference between skills in the browser and skills in the desktop is very important for those people that are a bit more advanced in their usage of skills, especially if they want to have a lot of skills for different projects. But with that being said, for those people that are starting out, I usually recommend they start with projects and not skills. Reason being is that they can scale, like I mentioned previously, if you're using the browser or the desktop, because the AI is only focused on that project that it's open inside of. But also, most of the use cases that you're working on, they tend to be simpler to begin with, so you don't necessarily need a skill for that task to have good outputs from the AI. Let's assume that you're a bit further along in your journey of using AI and you want to know if you should use projects or skills. Well, there's a simple question you can ask yourself to figure that out. So it's a simple two-part question. So the first part is focused on projects, and the second part is focused on skills. The first part states, does this work belong to one specific activity? Which is, if the answer is yes, it's likely a project. Or does that same procedure run across many projects? And that would then be a skill. So, what's an example here? So, let's go for this first one here. Let's say that you're working on a negotiation with a client, and you've been negotiating with this client for 6 months now, and you have a bunch of materials in relation to that negotiation. Well, you can drop all those materials into a project, and anytime a client comes back in relation to the negotiation, you can seek advice from the AI, and the AI has a bunch of context in relation to what's already been discussed. So, it's giving you optimal outputs. And that example is scoped to a very specific client as well as a specific activity. The next one is running across many. So for a skill, a good example here is proposals. So let's say that you write proposals for all your clients, and the proposals that you write are somewhat similar. Obviously, each might be slightly different based on the client, but the overall structure and the emphasis that you have for each proposal is similar. And let me show you what the patterns could look like when you're using a skill in this situation. So for the proposal, let's say pattern one is you have that skill that's a proposal writing skill and it applies to all your clients. So you don't necessarily need a project for this. Well, what happens here, let's say a prospect comes to you and you want to draft a proposal for them. Well, you can open up a new chat anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a project. And you can call that specific proposal writer skill, drop in the context from that discovery call you had with the client, maybe the transcript, and then tell it to write the proposal for you. It then gives you back a proposal that has the format, the tone, and the structure that you prefer for all your proposals, but has the context from that conversation you had with the prospect. You can then close this conversation out. You no longer need that context. Another prospect comes in, you do the same thing. Another one comes in, you do the same thing over and over, and new chats calling that skill with that additional context from the meeting. So that's pattern one when you're using skills alone. But with skills, you can actually use them with projects. You can merge these together. And this is usually useful for more complex tasks. So let's say that we have a project that we've created for a specific company that's associated to their reconciliation at the end of the month. And for this client, we've created a project because they have very specific rules around what they determine should be reconciled, as well as different categories that they care about when doing the reconciliation. But in addition to this, we also have a skill that's called in the instructions of that project that we have the financial close skill. And this includes a very specific way that we like to run our process when doing monthly close with the context from our client. And then once we've combined these two, we then get the output for that month. And that's our second pattern, which is merging projects and skills together. Now, we've talked a lot about skills, but we've not talked about how to create them. So you may see a lot of people talking about how you can create skills from scratch. I don't recommend doing that. Instead, what I recommend you do is you use Claude to create the skill for you. Because as I've shown you previously, if I go to Claude here and I go to the skills, if I go to skills here after the luggage button here, I go down to skills creator. This is from Anthropic and they provide it to you out of the box. This is a skill that creates other skills in a very effective way. So the thing I recommend doing is you have a conversation with an AI. So have your back and forth with an AI. Have it back and forth maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 times. At the very end of that conversation, you get the output that you're happy with. You're satisfied with the format, the analysis, all that stuff. Once you're happy with this output, at the very end of the conversation, I want you to copy and paste this prompt here. And what this is doing is we're simply asking the AI to use the skill creator skill to then create a skill based on the above conversation. And more specifically, you can see that I'm asking the AI to strip out anything specific to the client or the input that I gave in the conversation because we want it to be agnostic of the topic, but we want the process to be solidified in a skill. So we want you to take out any procedures, any standards, any formats, and I want you to encapsulate that into a skill and then give that skill back to me so I can then save it. So in simple terms, we're basically capturing what already works and putting that into a skill so we can repurpose that use over and over and over. So now that we know how to create skills effectively, there are usually three reasons as to why somebody would create a skill over anything else, one of which we've already talked about. So the first one is that they travel effectively, meaning that I can take a skill, I can download it from Claude Cowork, and I can then upload it into Codex from OpenAI, and it'll use the skill just as effectively as Cowork would. And this is really important because I have some clients that are transitioning from Claude to ChatGPT or ChatGPT to Claude, and we want to have the ability to encapsulate the things that we're doing effectively in these tools and move them from model to model without being locked in. The next thing is that you can chain them together, where in the instructions of a project that we've talked about previously, you can call multiple skills in succession. So you can say in step one, I want you to call this skill. In step two, you want to call this skill. Step three, this skill. And keep working through each one of those until you're finished. And finally, you can reuse them, which we've already talked about plenty, where you can actually use a skill across projects. So we have our proposal writer when you can use it for any prospect. And it's not locked into any given project, which is nice. So now that we know how to build skills and why we would want to use them, I also want to put a caveat out there as to why you shouldn't build too many of them. And this is specifically relevant if you're using Claude in the browser and you're not using the tactic I mentioned previously, where you have skills locked down to a specific subfolder. And what this comes down to is really confusing Claude on what skill it should call based on the context. Because often what happens is when you create a lot of skills, so say you have 25, 30, 40, even 50 skills, there's a chance some of those skills are somewhat similar in their title and description. So the AI doesn't really know which one to choose based on your context. As an example, say you have a series of skills related to proposals. Maybe you have client proposals, internal proposals, and vendor proposals. Well, maybe the AI doesn't know which one to call in what situation. So the best way to fix this and to avoid it is either use the tactic I mentioned previously of having skills dedicated to subfolders if you're using Claude Cowork on your desktop. But if you're in the browser and all the skills are going to be viewed by the AI no matter what, you want to do two things. First off, you want to limit the number of skills that you have. I recommend usually a sweet spot of maximum skills is between 13 and 15 skills. At this point, you have plenty of skills that are extremely valuable to you, but you've not created too many where you're overwhelming the AI and maybe even distracting it. That's one tactic. The other tactic is explicitly calling the skill when you want to use it. And you can do this with a slash command. So if I go into either Claude in the browser or Claude in the desktop, it's going to be the same. So if I go into this project here and I go into the chat, I do this slash, you can see I have all the skills, this little script here, are all the skills that I can choose from. The same thing applies to Cowork. So if I go to Cowork, I go into a chat here, I do a slash, you can see all the skills I can choose from. So that's a way that we can call them explicitly. But that isn't a foolproof solution, because if you have too many skills, the AI will proactively call them if it thinks the context is relevant, and it might accidentally call the wrong skill at the wrong time and mess up the output. So the two foolproof solutions are to minimize the number of skills you create when you're using the browser, and or use the desktop and make sure that each skill is dedicated to a specific task inside of a folder. So now let's do a quick recap of the most important things that we discussed. First things first is projects. So a project acts as a dedicated workspace for a given activity. And again, remember, if we have a project dedicated to a client, we want to make sure it's not dedicated to the entire client, but a specific activity for that client. And after that, we have skills, which is all around the detailed how. So either it's a very detailed form of analysis that has many steps you want to encapsulate into a skill, or it's a specific format that you care about, such as a proposal that has certain branding guidelines, spacing, fonts, etc. Skills are really good at that. And once you've saved these, you can usually use them anywhere. And the AI calls them proactively in the chat. And next after this is when I speak to beginners, I usually recommend they start with projects and not skills. And that's because they scale easier without confusing the AI if you're using the browser or the desktop. Next, we have the process of creating skills. So instead of creating a skill from scratch, you want to capture it from an existing conversation where you've already had a successful output from the AI. And finally, one of the best practices here for skills is to minimize the number of skills that you create any given time, so you're not overwhelming the AI and confusing it by all the different skills that could be somewhat similar to each other. And that's it. So as a quick reminder, two things. First off, Below is a 30-day AI Insight series, completely free. You'll get 30 insights in your inbox so I can apply AI to your business and your work. The second thing is if you'd like to work with me, below are a series of offerings to see if there's a good fit between the two of us. Now, here's a question worth sitting with. How do you even know which piece of your work is worth turning into a project or a skill in the first place? Most people guess, and most people guess wrong. I made a video on the 5-step method I use with all of my clients to find the right one, and it's right here. So go ahead and click it. Go ahead. I'll see you next time, Internet.